Children, today we will be discussing chapter number 5, which is conflict resolution. Here are a few things I think you should just keep in mind. First one, I have given out some homework to you in some of the slides where you need to do them. And also, children, if you could have a piece of paper and pen with you, then while I am explaining the lessons to you, you may be able to write down anything additional I might express out during the lesson. Okay? Now, we will see to the objectives of this lesson in the next slide. The objectives of this lesson would be defining conflicts, causes of conflicts, parties that involved in conflicts, different types of conflicts, qualities needed for conflict resolution, methods of conflict resolution, advantages of conflict resolution in a positive manner, and the repercussions of not resolving conflicts in a positive manner. Okay, now what do we normally mean by the word conflict? A conflict means where people disagree on a certain matter or on a certain issue. Okay, like we normally tend to do it among each other as well most of our time in our day-to-day life. The same way, the Oxford Dictionary also gave us a simple definition as to what a conflict means. Quote, a situation in which people, groups or countries are involved in a serious disagreement or an argument, unquote. So this would give us a simple definition or a simple idea as to what the conflict means. And also children, by just looking at the two pictures on the slide also, you may be able to get an idea as to what a conflict looks like where people do not agree upon each other's comments. Okay, now let's get on to the next slide. Here children, in this slide we see that conflicts are broken down into two sections, which is forms of conflicts and types of conflicts. If you are to consider forms of conflicts, then first one is riots. What do you mean by riots? That is where people behave in a very violent manner. Okay, maybe they go to the destruction of even property, it could be personal, government, or even harming innocent lives. Okay, so that is what you call having riots. Then if we are to consider the term quarrels, what do you mean by quarrels? It is an argument between two or more people on, sometimes it could be a trivial matter, but as time goes on, this could turn into a huge conflict, or in other words, it could even turn into a war in a country. Then arguments, disagreements, hitting each other also are different forms of conflicts. And then if we are to just consider the term war, okay, in our country as well, we as Sri Lankans did go through a type of war where people of our own country fought among each other for the land. Okay, so that, I know you children are very small for that, but you may able to get some details from your parents. So during this wartime, people did go through a lot of hardship, but as time went on, people realized the bad side of it and then came into a peaceful negotiation so that we can all live as Sri Lankans. And then going on to types of conflicts, conflicts are different types of conflicts are there. We have fights among our friends, relatives, even our neighbors, and also among ethnic groups. What do you mean by saying ethnic groups? Ethnic groups could be the Sinhalese, the Tamils, the Muslims, where we have arguments with different people of different races, or maybe of different religions, or even there are people who go into political party differences or conflicts. Okay, so these are the different types of conflicts that we do come across in this world. Okay, now children, we shall go into seeing the causes for these conflicts to occur. There are about 11 facts in here, so we shall randomly go through each of them to get you an idea as to what these facts are about. Okay, so if we are to see the first fact, which is selfishness, I'm quite sure all of you know the meaning of the word selfish, where you think of yourself only and not about the others. So you don't care or consider other people's opinions or their ideas. So that is also a reason for conflicts to occur. And then we can think about this next fact called being invade. What do you mean by saying invade here? Invade means where you forcibly try to push your authority among people, where you do not listen to other people but you try to dictate your ship, or you try to say that you are correct and so on. So that is being invade. You are forcibly trying to control people or forcibly trying to give an idea across without listening to other people's opinion. Then different ideas. So conflicts also occur when there are different ideas. When in a group of people, if the ideas do not agree upon each ideas, then there could be conflicts. Also, if we are to see this thing called social differences. What do you mean by saying social difference? Now, people are of different standards. Maybe the rich, the poor, or so on and so forth. So then, if two or three different societies or social background people were to get together, then definitely there could be conflicts because their ideas do not tally each other. So that also can be a social difference, also can be. Then being aggressive. What do you mean by aggressive? Here aggressive means where you are very violent. You do not want to listen to the other person's opinion. It is only you. It is only you who decides on everything. That is also a reason for conflicts. Then not being socialized. Okay, being socialized means where you learn to get along with many people, their ideas, different people of nature, their races and so on. But if you do not know to get along with different people, then also conflicts can occur. Then also another thing is being uneducated. So your education also do matter, but at the same time we must remember in the world there are wars going on in countries and they are all educated people. So this cannot, it's a very doubtable thing, being uneducated can be considered or not, because there are people of educated who are educated as well, also causing conflicts among each other. And also if we are to see desire to gain power, there is also one reason, because when you are power hungry, when in normal time we say power hungry means you want to dominate everybody and you want to basically control everybody. So then you all don't try to listen to other people's opinions. So then you are a person, or everybody calls you a power hungry person, where you only consider yourself as to being a leader or so on. Then also we can check and see there is another called taking decisions without seeking alternatives. So when you are in one mind and you don't want to listen to other people's opinions, or don't want to see are there any alternative methods where we can consider, then also conflicts do occur. So these are a few facts that we have spoken in this slide. So you can go through them one by one, and also if you want you can make your own little note on these various topics. Okay children, now we'll go to the next slide. Okay, now in this slide we will see the parties or the people involved in conflicts. Okay, now children see the first one. It says within oneself, between two people, within a family, among neighbors, within one state or between two states, and also among many states. Okay, if we are to see the first one, within oneself. So what here they mean by saying within oneself is it could be an individual person who believes in a certain thing or believes in certain ideas and wants to fulfill them. So when it goes he or she tries to fulfill his or her own dreams, then sometimes there could be conflicts because other people around may not agree upon those decisions or ideas. Then if we are to see the conflicts among two people, so averagely, normally, even in our school life, we do have conflicts among each other as students. I know there are many times when students also argue with each other based on a trivial matter or so on, but then after some time they come into a conclusion. Or so at the same time we see conflicts within families and also among neighbors, maybe some land dispute among the neighbors or so on and so forth. And also when it comes to the world, there are conflicts among countries. It sometimes the same country may have its own conflicts, or conflicts with two or more other countries in the world. Maybe due to various reasons, maybe resources, it could be land, and so on. So these are the basic parties or the people involved in conflicts. Okay, I think you got an idea. So let's get on to the next slide. Okay children, now we'll see the various types of conflicts based on three main key areas. Okay, the first one is conflicts based on politics, the second one is conflicts based on economy, and the third one is conflicts based on society. So if you have to see the first one, it means conflicts based on politics means where they are mainly concentrating on the boundaries of countries. Okay, where the border lines are. Now if you take currently there is a war going on in India and between India and Kashmir state, saying where India claims that their Kashmir state of Kashmir belongs to them. At the same time, Pakistan is also fighting with Kashmir, saying that they belong to Pakistan. So likewise, even in Afghanistan, we see the border conflicts going on. Even in Syria also, there are wars against these lands or the boundaries of countries. Then when you go on to this economy, here it is mainly to do with the resources. So resources which are held by people or countries to a large extent. So the main resource that everybody wants is the oil, because it's a natural resource and it's very expensive. So the countries like Kuwait, Iran, they are still fighting over the ownership of oil. And also you get other countries also who are fighting for this oil and also other natural resources also, like water and land and so on. At the same time, when you look at this picture also, you will see where people are asking other countries also, okay, what are the largest resources that you have? That is because then they are more dominant, or they can control the world, since they have lot of natural resources. So it is also a reason for conflicts to occur. And the last one is conflicts based on society. So this is mainly due to the people, or maybe in the same country, or maybe they fight with their religious groups because of disagreements on something, or even racial matters. Now if you take America, still there is a problem where they try to withhold or hold down the black people, because they feel that the white people think that they are more dominant in it, so they need to control the black people. So that's where they have this thing called the racism coming in. In also same time, we get in South Africa also this the term called apartheid. That means where the black people are controlled by the white people. So they do not want the black people to come up. So they try to control them and rule them. Okay, so these are the main things that we need to consider. These are the main types of conflicts that occur in the world right now. Okay children, so let's get on to the next slide. Okay children, now if we are to just turn back and see up to what we have learned up to now. We have learned the causes of conflicts, the types of conflicts, and the people or the parties involved in conflicts, and so on. But now from this slide onwards, we will concentrate on how to resolve these types of conflicts that we come across. Okay, so now here this slide is all about issues that arise due to conflict resolution. So if we are to see, there are about 8 points in that. So if we are to see the first one, it says rigidity of both parties. Here what they are trying to say, rigidity means where both parties do not want to come into an agreement. They are very much standing on their own, or saying that they believe in what they say. So they don't want to bend down or come into any agreement. So then also resolving such an issue is a problem. And then there is another one, says sticking to one's opinion. So that is what this particular party says, no, I am into this, I am not going to change. So then also the problem is still there. So then resolving such an issue is also a bit of a problem. And the same thing goes to sticking to one solution. So if there are two parties, one party says, okay, this is the solution, but sometimes the other party may not like it. So then also still the problem is there. So then resolving also is a issue over there. And then they say not seeking alternative. So they are also, if the other party, if they do not want to listen to another solution or doesn't want to hear it, then also it's going to be a issue in resolving a problem. Same one goes into saying that the not involvement of all parties to conflict. So if for example, say there are 3 parties involved in a conflict and say 2 want to come into a solution, but there is one particular party says no, we want to stick to our own ideas and theories. So then it will be another problem. And also another one says thinking of winning by defeating the others. So that is nothing but selfishness, because they think they know everything and they just want to stick to their ideas. They don't want to listen to the other people or think about their opinion. Then the last one says one party is trying to win, ignoring the opinion. So like what I said before, it is where you try to think of yourself only and not considering other people's opinions or even their ideas. Okay, children, so now there is a little bit of an activity for you to do, and I need you to do it in leisurely once this presentation is over. Okay, kids? Now let's get on to the next slide. Conflicts normally occur between humans. So if you are a person who is going to be a facilitator, or in other words, a person going to resolve a conflict, then there are certain qualities you need to have in order to be successful in resolving a conflict. So here are some few qualities one should have when going to resolve a conflict. So they have mentioned a few qualities, so we will randomly go through some of them so that you get an idea as to the meaning of these qualities or why you should have these qualities. Okay, first one we will take the word patience. What do you normally mean by patience? Patience means where you have the ability to listen to a person when he or she is telling you something and trying to explain. So now say you're the one who is going to resolve this conflict, then you have to have the patience to sit and listen to what those party people want to tell you. You have to listen to the first party, and then as well as you need to have the patience to be sit and just listen and without commenting, so that you get the total output of those people. And also here if you say active listening, okay, active listening also means where you tend to encourage them and tell them to talk it out so that they know that they can trust on you, and then they will be able to give out all their inner feelings as to why they have gone into a conflict. Also kindness, friendliness also goes hand in hand, and also they say ability to make decisions. So you must be a person who has the qualities where you sometimes you might have to take certain decisions, maybe drastic decisions or simple decisions. So you have to have the ability to think very carefully and also come into an agreement as to how you are going to make a solution for this. Expressive ability means here what they are saying is where you speak out or how you are going to put out the problem the way you have understood it, and then so try to get their attention on you and then have a dialogue so that you all express their ideas so that you get an idea as to the story behind these conflicts. And also controlling emotions also. Now emotions means what? Emotions means what we feel. Sometimes the person who is talking to you must be speaking in a very aggressive manner and giving out his thoughts. So at that moment, you cannot lose your control. You have to be a very self-controlled person where you tend to calm the person down and try to get what he or she feels. At the same time, say the opposition or the opposite side person is crying or something, then you can't be emotionally into it. You have to learn to pacify that person or tell that person, okay, control yourself, and then you also have to be very emotionally, you need to control yourself. Also respecting others' view. You need to get their opinion. You can't be the person to decide without getting their opinion. Then unbalanced nature. Okay, this is what they're trying to say here. Unbalanced nature is sometimes you have to, there are people sometimes, they tend to be disturbed by facts. So you can't be a person of such nature. You have to be very understanding, have a very open mind, and try to respect what they are saying and listen to what they are saying. And also saying fair judgment. Okay, judgment means what? Where you coming to a conclusion as to when you are going to resolve it. So when you are going to resolve an issue, you can't be listening only to one side. You need to listen to both parties, or if it's a three-party thing, you need to listen to each and everyone's opinions and their idea. And then only you must be able to come into a conclusion or a judgment. Also, respecting rights. Now say here respecting rights mainly comes into when you are dealing with religious issues or with communal, different types of people of different communities. Then you have to be very much careful, because each religion or each people have their own beliefs and so on. So you can't be dictating, or you can't be telling no, this is right, this is wrong. You can't tell like that. You have to learn to respect them and their rights as well. So, and also fulfilling your duties means you should be able to fulfill or come into a proper decision or a solution righteously. Okay, so maybe sometimes the decision that you have made may be not right, or both parties may not agree on to it, but you have to be very much thorough in it, and also explain to them as to why you think the solution is like this and so on. So this is a kind of enough qualities that you should need to have, and I think most of us have all these qualities in us, and if we don't have a few of them, I think by going through it, I think it's best is for us to improve on the qualities that we don't have, so that we can always be a helping hand when there's always a conflict arising without making it into a huge issue. By having these features, I think we might be able to resolve conflicts at a smaller scale, rather than making it go into a large scale conflict. Okay, I hope you have understood most of the qualities that I have mentioned here. So also there is a thing called being generosity. So generosity means where you go down like, being very humble, very kind, very generous, and try to listen to them. So basically here most of these features are trying to tell you is how you learn to control yourself and how you listen to the other person's opinion and get the facts onto you, so that you will be able to resolve the problem in a more positive manner. Okay, now we'll go on to the next slide. Okay children, now we will see as to the methods we can use in resolving a conflict. Okay, here they have given to us 5 different methods, so we will go through one by one and get an understanding as to how we can use these methods in resolving a conflict. Okay, the first one says discussion. So here it says this is one of the most simplest. Okay, so discussion means where you listen to both parties and then you come into a conclusion, and then if both parties you try to give a win. Here they say it's called a succeed in coming into a conclusion. They call it as a win-win solution. That means you have been able to come into an agreement where both parties have won their ideas and the problem is resolved. And the second one is called involvement. Here what they are saying is, now for example, if the discussion has not worked out right, then what you can do is you can get a total independent person who is not involved in this conflict but maybe knowing both parties. Then that person can be a mediator or a person who listens to the stories of the both sides and then comes into a conclusion. And basically these types of things are found in family conflicts and also in maybe sometimes in religious groups also maybe due to two different religions arguing, maybe a third party religion person can come and listen to it and then try to solve it. Also they say among other countries also. So say just an example I'm just telling you, like say there is a conflict which is going on between India and Pakistan. Okay, since they are two Asian countries, I think we as Sri Lankan, since we are also an Asian country, I think we can listen to both the sides and sometimes we might be able to give out a resolution to whatever problems they may be having. And also the third one, it says mediation. Here the mediation means, here the coalition is done by a board of consisting of mediators. The mediators are selected by the Ministry of Justice for mediation. So now something where it's a little bit beyond your duty, so then we have to get the approval from the court, and then you have to be, they will send you a person. In Sinhala we say Samadana Niladari. So that type of person, he or she comes, who is sent by the court, and then they will listen to the problems, and then they will come out with the solutions. So normally for family issues, and then little minor issues in the villages and so on, they do come and listen to the problem, and then they give in a solution. And also the next one says inquiry. This is a judiciary process. The parties involved are advised to come into a settlement at first. If it fails, then a legal inquiry is held. The verdict of the judiciary is final. The loser can appeal to the higher court. So here judiciary means what? Going into court. So normally what happens is we give the parties to discuss and come into either into a win-win solution or so on. But if it doesn't seem to be working out right, then we have to get the legal assistance. So then the next most closest place is the courthouse. So then what happens is there is a court hearing that goes on, and then the judge will give the final decision, and those decisions cannot be changed by us. We have to stick to it. But say for example the second party who lost the case thinks that it's a very unfair judgment, and then they are not happy with it, then what they can go do is they can go to Supreme Court or to a court which is higher than the normal court, so that they will be, again this problem will be taken up in court, and they will revise it, and then another hearing will be done. Hearing means where the people are brought in back again, and then the court will also come into a solution after that. Okay. And then the last one they say is another method is counseling. Conflict resolution is done by giving advice and guiding while providing facilities in various ways. The parties are given awareness on the benefits of positive conflict. So now, let's say take an example in the neighborhood. Maybe there's a park, and then everybody wants to play in that park, but then one community decides, no, it is only our children who can play, and the other community decides, no, everybody should be playing. But then what we do is we call those people, and then we give counseling, means talking to them and telling, why are you doing like this, it's a children's park, children need to play, and it doesn't matter what race you are coming in from. Okay, and then give the good side of it rather than speaking the bad side of it, so that okay, then they will understand each other, and it will be a park where mutually both religions or any type of community children can come and play there. And also now if you take like our school, like Leeds International, now it's a multicultural, multi-ethnic school. We do not criticize any religion, neither do we criticize any ethnic group. So it's an open place for anybody of any religion to come and join and study. So it's something like that. So if anybody has an idea and they remark and say, no, only Buddhist children are taken, we can definitely call those people and advise them and talk to them and say, no, it's like this, and give them the benefits or the outcome of what Leeds gives to them. Whatever religion you are coming in from, whatever social background you are coming from. Okay, then we'll get on to the next slide. Okay. Now in this slide we will speak on the positive aspects of conflict resolution. Okay, so in life or in anything we have the positive side, the negative side. Here we will talk of the positive side or the advantages of conflict resolution. Okay, so here it says resolving family conflicts then and there results peace at home as well as in the society. That is true, because if a house is very happy and round, then the neighbors and so on are happy, then there won't be any issues for anything. Everybody is mutually understanding and happy. Then it says many countries and social groups conflicts each other nationally or internationally due to racial, religious, civil wars, etc. So that also we have spoken earlier. There can be wars within the country or wars with other international countries also. So that also disrupts the normal day-to-day lives. Therefore, it is important to resolve conflicts positively, as it avoids loss of lives and property and being refugees. So here what they are saying is, so if we are able to solve a problem in a very positive manner, then there won't be, in other words, there won't be war. So because if there is a war, then definitely there will be a lot of people dying, and then property and all can get damaged, destroyed, and also you being refugees. So what here they are trying to say refugees is, now for example, there is a war going on in a country and the people are affected by it, so then they move out of that country and they go to another country and ask for asylum, or they say, okay, we are in our country is having a war, so we need to stay over in your country. Now that problem is they are in Syria, the country of Syria, because since this war is going on for a long time, the people of those country are moving out and they are going into other countries and asking for asylum, or they want even to go to the extent of being refugees, where they will be paid a sum of money and they will be looked after by this whatever government that they go into, or whatever country that they go into. Okay, so there are a few advantages of positive conflict. Okay, one thing is establishment of peace. Second one is personal and social development, politically stabilized, and also it minimizes the wastage of resources. Okay, so we will go to the first one, establishment of peace. Whenever a conflict occurs, peace breaks. Resolving conflicts in a positive manner establishes peace. So this is important for oneself personally as well as the society. So which is true. So if everything is quiet and nice, then it will be a lot of peaceful environment for anybody living in there. But if it is not there, then definitely there is unrest in that country, and then lots of it can tend into going into a war even. Okay. Then the next one says personal and social development. Conflicts always bring personal and social deterioration. That deterioration means when from a higher, where your person goes from a higher level, falls down into a very much of a low level with low level characteristics. And also, in fact, positive conflict resolution causes for personal and social development. So if you are able to solve a problem positively, then people in that society will live happily. But if you do not solve it in a more positive manner, then what happens is, say for example, there are two different communities living in one area, and then we do not try to resolve that problem, then what happens is there is going to be communal violence. That is, these two different parties, for example, say Sinhalese and the Tamil people, then we will be fighting with each other for maybe the most trivial things. Okay, so that's what they are saying. Then it deteriorates or it goes down. We lose the connection that we have with the other religions or other ethnic group. So if we do not want that to happen, and then what we have to do is solve the problem in a very positive manner. Then we on our own as well as the entire society develops, because there is no unpleasantness among us. Okay, and then the third one says political stability. Generally, conflicts damage the political stability of a country. Hence, it causes a negative impact on a country. Therefore, positive conflict resolution causes for a political stability. Okay, what they mean by saying here political stability is, now a country develops when everything is smoothly running. Okay, people are happy, the country is developing and so on. But if there is an internal war, or if there is a war with two different countries, then definitely both countries are not doing well. Then we call it politically instability. Then the development of the country goes down. So even in the past, I think in previous 2-3 slides ago, I ought to mention to you about we had a civil war in our country. So during that time, our country didn't develop. But now, as everybody is having a very peaceful life, our country is developing not in a drastic way, but gradually we are developing into factories and so on. So everybody is very happily living here. So then when everybody is happy, the country can develop into certain standards. So then that's why they say to try to solve problems when they are at a minor level rather than making it go into a huge level, then what happens? If we go into a war, then the entire country's economy and so on goes down. Okay, and then the next one, minimizing of waste of resources. Large amount of resources get wasted due to conflicts. There is a waste of physical, human resource and time. Therefore, it is important to maintain positive conflict. So, as you all know, we cannot get the time back. At the same time, human lives. Okay, if there is a war coming up and if people are to die, then what happens? We can never get that human resource back again. And also property. Due to war, there are lots of property that is getting damaged, and it takes years and years to rebuild those things again and to come back into time. And then by that time also has passed a long way. So then now there are countries like, again if I am to tell you, countries like Afghanistan, Syria and all those countries are fighting for years and years now. So they have not developed as time went on because they have spent so much of time in going through the war. But if you take even our country after the war, even now we have bloomed, or we are developing with the in par with the most of the other countries in the world. Okay, so here are a few positive sides as to when we solve a problem in a very positive manner, then these are the outcomes that we will get for the development of our country or in our life. Okay, then we go to the next one. Okay children, now this is our last slide of this lesson. So we shall see as to what it says. It says here, consequences of not resolving conflicts. So when we do not resolve a conflict positively, then these are the repercussions that we will have to face through. Okay, so here it says, as for not resolving conflicts positively, there is a negative impact on people as well as society. So consequences of not resolving using the win-win method are given below. So if you do not come into a positive agreement or into a positive solution in conflicts, then here are a few things that the people will have to go through, or and so on. Okay, here are a few of them. It says mental stress. Say now there is right now say there is a war going on in the country, then people are not happy. It's always stressful because you don't know which moment your loved ones may die or even you might die. So then what happens is, or your loved ones may get hurt and so on. So then mentally you are not happy or mentally unstable. At the same time, say you are the person who has caused a conflict, and then what happens is, as time goes on, you become a very unpopular character. People do not like to associate you, do not want to be with you, because they will say, okay, now this person is always finding fault or always coming into arguments. So then you become a very unpopular person. Then the next one says, having mutual suspicion and distrust. Suspicion, that means always thinking about the other person in a very doubtable manner and not trusting anybody, because since you are not happy with yourself and then you have not got your points proven, so then what happens is you always look at the other people in a very suspicious manner, and also you don't tend to trust the people. And all the next one says breaking down social relations. So then as time goes on, you move away, or you or your party or your group of people, you all move away from the rest of the community or from the rest of the people in that area. So then, because people don't want to have anything to do with you all, maybe a single person, maybe a party, maybe an entire society, so then you break down or you move away from those people. Increasing unnecessary problems and expenditure. So then again the same thing. So you are the cause of it, and if we are not able to solve it, then there are lots of expenditure. Here expenditure means where sometimes it could be to the extent of damaging property. And also unnecessary problems means maybe a slight word can cause another rift or another fight. So those are the problems that could. And also destruction of resources, as I told you, maybe breaking of public property or breaking of personal property. And also, so because of all these outcomes, there's a breakdown in the peace, that no, you are not happy, neither the society is happy, neither the country is happy. Everybody is in a fixed state or in a sad state, because there is a conflict within maybe a group or maybe a country, and so on. Okay, children? Okay. So children, we have now covered the whole lesson, and to brief you what we have learned, we learned what a conflict is, the reasons for conflicts, types of conflicts, causes of conflicts, and at last we learned how to resolve conflicts in a positive manner. Okay, and now this slide is basically a moral or a summarized of what we have learned, and I won't be explaining this one, as it is up to you to read it and try to understand it. So children, now attend to the homework given and see the video clips I have linked in, and also during your leisure time you do log into YouTube and see the videos pertaining to this lesson, so that you get an idea as to what conflict is, and when conflict is not resolved, the outcome of it. Okay children, so please complete the work assigned to you, and thank you very much, and hope to see you soon. Bye children.